What's going on, world? Steve Dab317 back with another reaction video. This is another video I've really been looking forward to. This is going to be somewhat of a BTS reaction. Really quick before we jump into it, if you haven't already done so, do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button down below. I'm really trying to make it to 1,500 subscribers. I really want to say 1,500 supporters because it's not so much the subscription thing that does it, but it's just knowing that there are people there who are supportive of my journey as I'm learning new things and interacting with each and every one of you who I truly greatly appreciate. But so as you know, I've reacted to I think 2 or 3 BTS videos so far. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to do a reaction video that wasn't influenced by me watching an intro to BTS video. So I wanted to do a few reaction videos and then watch an introduction to BTS so I can learn more about them and then go back and react to those videos again, or re-react. Is that a word even? Or I don't know. Anyways, so that's kind of my game plan. That's where I am right now. So I noticed quite a few of you in the comments put down that there's an intro to BTS created on the xCeleste channel. I believe that's how it's pronounced. So that's the topic of today. I get to learn who BTS is as a group. Right now, what I know about them is surface level. I know that I like their music. I like the choreography. I like, the outfits, the cinematography. But I don't really know much about BTS, and that's why I'm here right now. So, without any further ado, let me get my headphones on, and let's get it popping. In 3, 2, 1.
How many of you have heard of BTS?
Who is BTS, and why are they so popular? BTS is a 7-member group from South Korea. While the words boy band are often associated with the image of screaming teen girls, that is far from reality. First, there's nothing wrong with being a young person showing love for something you enjoy. But what if I told you about 24% are in their 20s, 28% are in their 30s, and 21% are in their 40s?
So real quick, I'll tell you what's significant about those statistics. So I'll start off by saying there are a lot of great artists, past, present. I'm sure there'll be more in the future. A lot of great artists, but it seems that only the greatest of the great artists are able to release music that transcends across multiple generations. You know what I mean? So like you look at some of the artists today who are hot right now. In 15, 20 years, they'll be virtual. Like no one will know them except the people who are close to them. But like when I speak of the greatest of the great artists, I'm thinking like Michael Jackson, right? So you can find a 7-year-old kid who absolutely loves Michael Jackson music. You can find a 70-year-old kid who absolutely loves Michael Jackson's music. And everywhere in between, like it just from generation to generation, like it's still valued. And so to me, it's saying a lot looking at these statistics and realizing like there's younger age individuals who are into BTS for whatever reason, middle age for whatever reason, and those people who are a bit more mature in life. So I just think, especially being from my understanding, they're still a fairly newish group, been around 10, 15 years, something like that. But not like they haven't been around for like ever and ever and ever. You know what I mean? Constantly putting out music, from my understanding at least. So yeah, it just, to me, that says a lot about the group, that generation after generation that is intrigued by it. But I guess now I got to figure out why is that the case. And there's others. Bruno Mars. I think Bruno Mars is going to be one of those people who generation after generation. Whitney Houston, obviously.
Closer look at this age and gender demographic for BTS's 2020 Map of the Soul ticket sales. Females ages 25 and up made 46% of web traffic, and 31% were males. BTS's fans, named ARMY, will often tell you BTS is not your typical boy band. And why? To get a better understanding, let us go.
So I've seen that in the comments multiple times. you know, people, hey, BTS is not a boy band, and I'm glad she's getting into the why because I read the comments, I respect it, but didn't fully understand the scope of it, I guess. So I guess I'm about to learn that right now.
Back to the beginning. BTS was created by Big Hit Entertainment, whose mission statement is music and artist for healing. The company, and namely their CEO,
Absolutely.
Bang Si-hyuk, wanted BTS to be sincere and genuine figures that people could easily relate to and grow with. Not immaculate idols groomed amid studio culture, but real boys who shared their authentic personalities and talents with the world. Which is why BTS...
That's dope. That is so extremely dope. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why to me it's so dope. Because like, there are so many issues, especially with the younger generation right now with self-perception. And I think a lot of that has to do with what's portrayed on TV and in the commercials and in music videos. And I think a lot of times for the younger generation, young males and females, like, I think a lot of it is almost like it's pressure. Like, well, if I don't look like this person or that person, then something's wrong with me, you know? And it's, I think it's sad. You know, and I'm not like picking on any specific person who has, you know, whatever going, but it's just, I think it's sad that like young individuals feel like they have to look like the people who are on social media or TV or the commercials. And like beauty comes in so many different forms and shapes and fashions. And, you know, I would like to see us get back to the point where people are just comfortable with themselves, with who they are, and love themselves for who they are. So that's why I think that message is just super, super dope. I can definitely respect that.
stands for 방탄소년단, Korean for Bulletproof Boy Scouts. Bangtan meaning to be resistant to bullets, so it means to block out stereotypes, criticisms, and expectations that are aimed at adolescents like bullets, to preserve the value and ideals of today's adolescent. In 2017, BTS rebranded their name and logo representing their growth and maturity, extending the meaning to beyond the scene. The new door-inspired logo symbolizes youth who don't settle for growth and maturity, extending the meaning to beyond the scene. The new door-inspired logo symbolizes youth who don't settle for their current reality and instead open the door and go forward to achieve growth. BTS debuted on June 12, 2013 with 7 members. RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. All 7 members came from different parts of Korea. So at first, living together in a small apartment was a challenge. Their CEO...
I do not like living with other people, if I can help it. Like, there are just so many small ways that I like doing things and I want them done by specific, you know, that's why I have an office to myself. Like, this is the one space where like my wife doesn't rearrange anything. Everything in this little space, it kind of happens the way Steve wants it to happen.
Bang Si-hyuk created a method for the boys whenever they got into an argument.
일단 싸워도 된다. 싸움을 두려워하기 때문에 우리 갈등이 커지는 거다라고 가리키고요. 그 다음에 마지막으로는 단 해결은 7이 같이 하는 거다. 싸움은 둘이 해도 해결은 7명이 같이 해라. 하기 너무 창피한 걸로 싸움을 해도 결국 같이 와서 저희가 이런 문제를 갖고 둘이 싸웠는데 이렇게 해서 이렇게 해결했습니다라고 얘기를 하고, 그런 부분들이 이 팀의 친화력을 혹은 시너지를 강하게 만들고 있지 않나 이렇게 생각됩니다.
Over the years,
I don't know, man, and I don't think I've watched an intro to any other group, but I don't know that that's something that I've heard or seen other groups do before. Like, so from what I'm gathering, in the way, even with conflict resolution and like, you know, like you said, a couple people have an issue, like they get together, selectively sit down. What's amazing about that, and you know, I talk a lot about the importance of listening to the voices of other people, but what happens in situations like that, I would imagine that at least 5 of those voices have an unbiased perspective on whatever the conflict is based on. You know, for them to all sit down, and you imagine, like, if me and you were sitting here having a disagreement, I felt I was right, you felt you were right, and then there was a small group of people who loved us both dearly, like, and they came, and let's say they came to the conclusion that I was wrong and you're right, like it's a lot easier for me to accept that coming from a neutral party than it is for me like going back and forth with you and trying to accept what you're saying. So you know, I think there's great value in that, but you know, it seems like they're more of a more, it seems like it's more of a family, like a brotherhood. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like you get into it with family or relatives and y'all, you know, let 30 minutes pass, get something to eat and go on about your life, and you know, you love them no different. It seems like they're more structured like siblings would be, you know, as opposed to, I guess, just a band or whatever.
The boys have come to love each other despite their difference in personalities, to the point where they'd feel incomplete with one member missing. They became each other's strength and support and formed a brotherhood.
내 머릿속에는 옆에 멤버들이 있어야 뭔가 자연스러워. 그러니까 뭔가 내 핸드폰이나 지갑처럼 없으면 불안한 그런 것들 있잖아. 생각나.
그죠. 소중하다 못해 없으면 안 될 사람들이긴 하죠. 왜냐면은 넘어져도 저 혼자 일어나는 게 아니라 그냥 같이 일어난 거니까.
좀 생각을 해보면 이런 7명이 어떻게 모였을까라는 생각이 들어요. 이제는. 네. 오래 지냈다고 해서 될 문제는 아니에요. 어떻게 보면은 운명인 것 같아요. 네. 되게 유치하지만 그냥 운명이었던 거예요, 이거는. 네.
There's an ad coming.
Chicken cheddar ranch.
So while this is running, you know, like I said, out of respect to the original content creator, I
Their
always try to
climb
let
to
at
the
least
top
one. Whoa,
may seem
we're
sudden
back.
to those who didn't follow their journey, but it was far from a walk in the park.
그냥 운명이었던 거예요, 이거는. 네.
So nothing corny about that. Like, I think fate is real. I don't think anything in this world happens by chance. You know, it's a lot of things we may not understand, a lot of things I may not understand, but even sometimes like 10, 20 years down the line, I'll look back with like, oh, now I see why that happened the way it did, and why maybe that was a good thing that it happened the way it did. But it's always a learning experience. But I think things happen by fate. Absolutely. The people we meet, the people we interact with, me sitting here conversing with you all, I feel like it's conversing. Like every time you all write a comment, I read it as if you're standing in front of me speaking those words. So and I enjoy those dialogues. So yeah, fate.
Their climb to the top may seem sudden to those who didn't follow their journey, but it was far from a walk in the park. BTS's company, Big Hit Entertainment, started off small and faced numerous hardships, even coming close to bankruptcy. Since Big Hit wasn't a large company at that time, they lacked the resources for promoting BTS. Even getting the chance to debut was a fluke. Their debut performance opportunity came about because a music show needed a filler for someone else's
That was
spot.
tight. With the walking
Even
on the
after
backs.
they debuted, their performances would often get cut, and if they did make it on air, their screen time was very short since Big Hit didn't have the power or influence bigger companies had over broadcasts. Since they were often not invited to a lot of big variety shows, the company found their own way to communicate with their audience through platforms such as YouTube. By vlogging their journey, they allowed us to discover their personalities. They also created their own variety shows and often live streamed with fans. They honed their crafts for hours.
So I'm going to assume that that's probably why, you know, and I'm speaking directly to BTS Army, but I'm assuming that's probably part of the reason why you all are so loyal to this group. Like if I'm interpreting this properly, like they spend a lot of time and effort making avenues to where you all can like directly connect with them, you know, and it seems like they're doing stuff directly for the fan base and just other people in the world in general. So I think that's it's cool. It's admirable. You know, sometimes groups, especially when they start getting bigger, or individual artists, like communicating, it almost seems impossible to communicate with them directly, you know, because they kind of seem way here and everybody else is way there, whatever. You got to go through. But I don't know. It seems cool. It seems like they really make themselves accessible. So
on end, practicing in the dance studio and producing music, returning home at dawn to all sleep in one bedroom. 2 years of hard work and not knowing where they'd end up, they finally won their first music show award. Yet, as they grew in popularity, they were falsely accused of sajegi, which is when a company buys their own artist albums to boost sales for the charts. That's because people couldn't believe a group from a small company was selling well, ignoring the fact that a small company wouldn't have the resources to pull off such a scam. These
You know what? So I bet you that those larger companies they were speaking about, I bet you those had a lot to do with them being accused of whatever that word was that started with the S, but basically accusing them of buying their own albums or whatever. I bet you they had a lot to do with it. And they were probably trying to bury them when they seen them growing it. It seems like with those big companies, like if you don't go through them, they don't want you to even have an inkling of a chance at success in the industry.
were just a few of their hardships and struggles. I created a separate video highlighting their past hardships. I'll link that in my description box. Throughout the years, BTS were able to reach impressive milestones while continuing to sing in Korean. They shattered cultural language barriers with music and attracted an international audience. They grew organically by staying true to themselves while building a genuine connection with their fans from around the world. During an era where streaming numbers have gone up and traditional album sales have gone down, BTS has become an industry anomaly. Their latest album, Map of the Soul 7, released February 21, 2020, is the best-selling physical album of the year, and they sold over 500,000 copies in just the United States alone. The biggest kicker? Well, BTS did this without a single bundle. And what does bundle mean? Artists would bundle merchandise or concert tickets with the album's sales. For example, a copy of an artist's album, digital or physical, would be included in every t-shirt sale or ticket sold for their concert. These sales would count towards charting numbers and become an industry-wide.
You know what? So a couple of things. One, what's really dope about this channel, which I'm definitely going to have to make sure I follow this xCeleste channel, every time she says something or I have a question, she'll stop and then explain. Like the bundles thing, I was going to be like, I don't know. Then she stops and explains, well, this is what it is. But the other thing is, I never knew what it was called, but I definitely know that I've seen a lot of artists doing that. Like it almost to the point where I never gave it much thought, but I didn't realize that they had to do with those album sales when they're bundling and putting stuff together like that. So now I may have to go back and look at the charts and kind of really with a microscope kind of see who really is a top chart, artist or group or whatever, and who's just kind of padding those numbers by force bundling stuff together.
Tactic in the US to help boost sales figures and in effect climb up the Billboard
DJ Khaled
charts.
down there.
In a 2019 New York Times article, they said about half the 39 titles that topped the charts last year were sold as part of ticket or merchandise bundles. Without the help of bundles and driven by the power of ARMYs alone, BTS were able to beat a lot of historic records, such as Michael Jackson's 36-year record and the Beatles' 22-year record. While these musical acts are famous around the world, Suga has said it's a great honor to be called the Beatles of the 21st century. At the same time, it's a bit pressuring to be called that. We are BTS. We want to be the BTS of the 21st century. The members themselves have always been involved in their music and engaged with their fans, even...
You see, look at their setup. I mean, don't get me wrong. My 3-monitor setup, I got a custom built PC I put together myself. It's no slouch. When I built, I guess it's a year and a half, 2 years old now. Ryzen 3900X, and if you want to know the specs, put it in the comments. I'll give you my full list. But it's no slouch by far. But geez, look at what they're working with. That's super dope.
Before they officially debuted.
Another quick note: I used to build and repair PCs some years ago. My life journey is really it's pretty crazy. Like I've been all over the place. Like I'll share more as time goes on.
From their debut album Too Cool for School in 2013 to their most recent Map of the Soul 7, all 7 members have contributed as either writers and or producers on every album. All of BTS are associate members of the Korea Music Copyright Association. And as of August 2020, J-Hope, Suga, and RM were all promoted to full members of the association. They even create music that's released for free on SoundCloud as gifts to their fans. Much of their work touches on subjects like mental health, youth and female empowerment, child abuse, cyberbullying, self-love and development, and socio-economic injustices. Much of their work is also inspired.
So listen. You know how earlier we were kind of talking about the big companies and things like that? Like, and I've said this in other videos, but I think a lot of artists, they get signed with those big labels and they even just listen to their music, like they lose sight of who they are. You know, like their music changes, what they talk about changes. But I think a lot of that has to do with those big companies saying, well, we'll give you this opportunity, but you got to do things our way. And, you know, from what she's saying about BTS, I think maybe it's a good thing that they're signed with a smaller label who allows them to voice their opinion and stand up for others and be a voice for others. And, you know, like I said, all the different, and I'm going to go back and play that part again, but all the different topics she mentioned are topics that really do need to be addressed and need to be discussed and talked about, you know. So kudos to them for doing that, for utilizing their tremendous skill, you know, their vocals, their dancing abilities, and putting it out there in a way where they're getting a message across. And yeah, I'm gonna hit play. I'm gonna go back like 10, 20 seconds.
Empowerment, child abuse, music that's released for free on SoundCloud as gifts to their fans. Much of their work touches on subjects like mental health, youth and female empowerment, child abuse, cyberbullying, self-love and development, and socio-economic injustices. Much of their work is also inspired by past writers and thinkers. Their latest series, Map of the Soul, incorporates psychological concepts by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. BTS is not afraid to use their platform to amplify underrepresented voices and issues, taking numerous risks with their career while receiving backlash from people in power. BTS are also as charitable as they are talented. Throughout the years, members have been donating individually and as a group. BTS rarely publicize donations, so fans often find out about them if media organizations uncover the details.
So I'm gonna tell you what really stands out to me about that, and I'm sure you've seen the videos and things online where people are going out and they've got, you know, food, money, whatever they're giving away, and hey, you know, they're making their YouTube videos. I'm out here feeding the homeless, I'm feeding the needy, and they're putting these people on camera. And I always think to myself, like, well, if I ever am again all the way down and out, like, well, I don't want a camera in my face. I don't want you showing the world my current, you know, what's going on with me in my life right now or the issues I'm dealing with. But it seems like people don't even take that into consideration. It's like they just want to make sure the camera's rolling so everybody can see I'm out here giving back, doing good, you know. And one part, you know, I was going to avoid saying a name, you know, just out of respect. But once I say like wealthiest person in the world, obviously you guys know I'm speaking of Jeff Bezos. Like, I remember, and obviously he's very ambitious, financially ambitious, but I remember when he first passed Bill and Melinda Gates, or Bill Gates as the wealthiest person, and an article came out, a story came, I think it was a news article, and it came out and it basically said that if Bill, at the time Bill and Melinda Gates, if they had done as much donating to charitable organizations as they had, they would still have more money than Jeff Bezos. And then after that, you started seeing like just memes and things like that following, where people started criticizing him for being a top earner, but like not being on the list of like giving back to organizations and things. And he might have done some giving, but to my understanding, it wasn't on a massive scale. So what ended up happening was he started making donations, and he donated enough money so he can be the largest, you know, public donator. And like, to me it was more about, and this is my opinion, but to me, I think it was more about, he just wanted that first place position. He wanted to feel like, hey, I'm the best at this. But like, the way I look, like $1 given from the heart to me is more valuable than $100 given for self gratification or given because I want to publicly make it look like I'm a giving person. Like I'm not a fan of that. Like if you're going to give from your heart, you know, like if I do any giving, it will be from my heart. It's not going to be like because I'm forced to give or because I have to. So anyways, that's what really stands out to that to me. You see in other artists, they do some giving and stuff. And sometimes it is like it's a huge event and a whole, you know, make sure all the cameras are here. And I'm sure there's people who do some stuff discreetly too. So kudos and shout out to each of you. Artists who do that, as well as, you know, people maybe who aren't artists or artists in a different sense who are giving, like, you know, kudos to you for that.
Of BTS's few public announcements was in November 2017 for their Love Myself campaign. They partnered with UNICEF to create a campaign aimed at protecting children and teenagers from around the world, with the hope of making the world a better place through music. BTS and their company, Big Hit Entertainment, pledged 500 million Korean won and donated 3% of the income from the sales of physical albums of the Love Yourself series, along with 6 other fundraising initiatives, including the Love Myself merchandise, where 100% of its proceeds were pledged to the cause. The Love Yourself series, which contained 3 albums total, sold over 7 million copies worldwide. On September 24, 2018, BTS was invited to deliver a speech about the Love Myself.
All right, I don't know this speech, but as many of you have commented on like the first or second video reaction I did, you know, let me know that they had given the speech at the UN General Assembly. Which I think why it caught me off guard is because I had never heard of any person or group performing there, and that's probably why it didn't even factor in. But reading all the comments and stuff, and then I'm assuming this is that speech that they're referencing, what she's about to start talking about.
Campaign at the United Nations General Assembly. On January 15, 2020, Formula E announced their partnership with BTS to help combat climate change. On June 3, 2020, BTS tweeted their support for Black Lives Matter. A few days later, Variety reported that BTS and Big Hit Entertainment had donated $1 million to support the Black Lives Matter movement. When ARMYs got wind of the news, they matched their $1 million donation in one day.
Is this an ad? Okay, ad's about to run. Look. While this ad is running, that's
Now, these are just a couple.
Oh, stop. I've got an opinion on the Black Lives Matter movement, which I don't think this is the time or place to voice that opinion. But what I will say, that's super dope of them to look and feel like there was a issue or something that needed to be addressed, and then making such a sizable charitable donation. That's super dope. But then you guys, for turning around and matching that, like, this is like, that I can recall off the top of my head, I've never seen such a display of love and concern in that matter from a group as well as their fan base towards a specific single cause. And I'm certain there's probably other things that they do, but so I think I get why people are so adamant when they say they're not a boy band, like, because it's so much more than that. This scenario, as well as a lot of other stuff that I've heard about so far in this video, super dope. What you guys did, super dope. Man, like, that's, I don't know what else to say about it. So I'm gonna let the video keep rolling. We'll run it back like 10 seconds, and then there's a lot to unpack about this group.
Of their acts of charity. Got wind of the news, they matched their $1 million donation in one day.
24
now,
hours.
These are just a couple of their acts of charity. With their socially conscious music, BTS created a new fandom culture that brings together fans from different national and racial identities. This led to the emergence of bilingual ARMY volunteers who translated BTS Korean lyrics and videos in their language almost real time, making the content immediately available to non-Korean speakers. We may all speak different languages, but their music and their message connected people from around the world, with different ethnicities, background, gender, and age. BTS has also expressed their love and respect for ARMY countless of times, such as always mentioning them first during speeches, responding to fans on their social.
I bet at those concerts or at those events when they do that, I bet you it gets so loud. Like the turn up is I know the turn up is real when they do that, but never forgetting they people, never forgetting how they got to where they are. I get why BTS Army is so strong and passionate about this group. Like they're really unique, you know, and I'm gonna let this keep playing, but they're
Media
really
app
unique.
Weverse, showing their appreciation for ARMY projects, halting rehearsals for the Muslim prayers in Saudi Arabia. The youngest member, Jungkook, even got the fandom name tattooed on his hand. Together with ARMY, they grew as individuals and as artists.
저는 굳이 영향력을 주는 거창하는 것은 안 원하고 그냥 저희를 보는 분들이 행복하고 웃을 수 있다면
Happy and smiling.
팬이란 게 진짜 뭘까 막 이런 생각을 가끔 많이 하거든요. 결국 그 사람들 때문에 저희가 무대에 서는 거라서 그 봐주는 사람들을 위해서 노래를 하고 무대를 하는 거기 때문에 결국 우리는 그 사람들한테 진짜 감사해야 되고 무대 하나하나에 최선을 다해야 되고.
간단하게 얘기해서는 가수를 하고 있는 어떤 제일 중요한 이유인 것 같아요. 저는 뭐 방송 활동도 물론 싫지 않지만 진짜 콘서트는 그냥 제가 이 방탄소년단을 하고 있는 이유가 맞는 것 같아요.
참 다행히도 내가 원래 하고 싶었던 메시지 하고 싶었던 음악들을 하고 있어서 참 다행이라고 생각을 해요. 그러기 때문에 되게 그렇게 살고 있는 것 같아요. 긍정적인 에너지를 주죠.
일단 이 일을 좋아하는 거, 이 일을 사랑하고 너무 좋아하는 게 저에게 큰 영향을 주는 것 같아요. 왜냐면 이 일을 하기 싫고 실증이 나고 하면은 무대 위에서도 나타나기 때문에 이 일을 굉장히 사랑하기 때문에 내가 무대 위에서 퍼포먼스를 할 수 있고 노래를 할 수 있는 것 같아요.
계속 와서 응원해주는 모습, 그리고 이렇게 저희를 진심으로 좋아해주는 그런 표정들, 힘들 때 그런 표정들이 저에게 더 힘을 주는 것 같아서.
저희를 알아봐 주신 여러분들이라면 여러분의 꿈이 아니더라도 여러분의 삶, 여러분의 인생에 언젠가 저희의 존재가, 저희의 음악이, 저희의 무대가, 저희의 사진, 영상이 여러분한테 아주 조금이라도 아픔이 100이라면 그 100을 99, 98, 97로 만들어줄 수 있다면 그걸로 저희의 존재의 가치는 충분합니다. 정말 사랑합니다.
I absolutely love that message. Like, even if it's just an inkling of a difference, it's a difference and it matters. Like, this is, we're almost there. I know you're probably like, man, he stops a ton, but I'm only probably stopping about half as often as I want to, because I try to let it flow a little bit, but like I've just got every single snippet of this, I have something to say about it, you know, and I enjoy sharing that with you all, but there's a lot going on here.
Their love for ARMY has also helped them decide on re-signing another 7-year contract with Big Hit Entertainment. They mentioned doing it for their fans and not for money. So while people...
You know what? And that's dope that's dope that they're saying they're doing it for the fans and not the money. I can almost guarantee, like, some of the big labels, they probably threw unimaginable amounts of money at them. Hey, come sign with us, we'll give you. They probably offered them the world. And I could see them like, nah, bro, we're good. We're going to continue doing what we do. We're going to stay in our lane. We're going to keep being a voice for people who don't have a voice. We'll continue. So that's dope, because I'm sure there was options from the big companies to give them who knows how much, but I like it. Listen, I legitimately like this group, and I'm gonna have to get my daughter in here on one of these. So my daughter, she listens. She's familiar with BTS because she told me a couple small things or whatever, and about a couple other groups too. But yeah, now I can actually have a good conversation with her about BTS, and I'll kind of sort of be the cool dad who's kind of old but kind of cool.
People often discredit BTS's talent, likening their popularity to superficial aspects that come with the image of a boy band. It is their development of personalities and sincerity towards their art and their fans that made their fandom the size and reach that it has become. I hope people will come to realize that BTS is more than just their singing and their dancing skills. They're not just performers, but artists who have healed and inspired millions of people around the world. For a deeper dive into BTS, please refer to these websites, apps, and ARMY accounts to stay updated. We're also working on more video projects and a website, so stay tuned.
xCeleste, listen.
Fuel your greatness.
Thank
With
you.
data, it's proven
Hold on, not yet. You can spike in a moment. Greatly appreciate. I don't even know if you ever see this. I don't know if you see the videos that react to yours, but if you do, this meant the world to me. Also, shout out to everybody else, all the BTS Army who put down in the comments and shared the link or told me, hey, go check out our video. One, it was extremely informative. Two, it wasn't like, I didn't feel like it was so much content or information that I couldn't retain it. Like, I feel like at this moment, I probably retained 80-90% of everything that was mentioned in that video. I'm definitely going to watch it again because just look at the stats and the data and stuff like that. But man, this really changes the perspective. I'm excited now. Definitely going to subscribe to xCeleste's channel and look for the other videos that go a bit more into depth. I want to find that video where she talks about the hardships. I'll probably do a reaction to that also, but I get it. I get that BTS is more than just a music group. They're more than a group who's great at dancing. They're more than a group of friends. You know, it's definitely a family. I think, and I would say that even the BTS Army is an extension of that same family. You know, they seem like they're really close with you all, and I think that's super dope. You know, it's like they're always tangible, always doing things that are relatable, and speaking up on things that a lot of artists are afraid to talk about because they're afraid that, oh, if I say this, I'm going to fall from fame, or people are going to judge me, or they're not going to buy. And it seemed like to them, these numbers, the 500,000 sales, and was it 2020, you know, like, or 500,000 plus, like, I don't think it's about the numbers to them. I think to them it's about, you know what, we got a message that the world needs to hear, and we're going to put it out there. You know, we're going to put it out there in such a way that it's captivating and it draws people in, so they pay attention to these deep messages. You know, like you heard the video. I'm not going to get into all the details, but very intriguing video, very well put together. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. I'm definitely going to be doing more BTS reactions. But for now, Steve Dab 317, feeling greatly appreciative, and I'm signing out.